Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady is expected to play in Saturday's third and final preseason game for the Colts against the Colts there. Brady, who returned after that 11-day absence to take care of some personal issues, practiced in full on Thursday, no problem for TB12. It'll mark the first time Brady has played in the preseason this year, making sense considering the change of personnel around him. Up front also, adding Julio Jones not too long ago. Head coach Todd Bowles saying it's important for this game to get a little continuity with those new weapons up front and outside. Our quarterback and NFL expert, Brady Quinn, checking in here on HQ, and TB12 expected to start that season finale, something you want to see before we get to week one. But what are you really watching here with TB12 and these new pieces around him?
I don't know that I'm watching anything specifically. I mean, look, the reality is he's getting back from what was, I guess you'd say, a long break, something that's unprecedented, at least in regards to the NFL standards during training camp. I mean, not many guys are allowed to go take a 10-day vacation to go be with their family and be able to get away like that. But obviously, this is a guy who's 45 years old. He's played more football than anyone, has been more successful than anyone. So he gets the okay and gets the pass to do that. I think you're really just looking for him continuing to develop that chemistry with a new guy like Julio Jones, or the offensive line with all the injuries they've sustained so far this training camp. You know, you'd like to, they're going to hear your cadence. You'd like to get a feel for how they're going to block, what your weaknesses are. And this is something that I think a lot of people might question. Why would Tom Brady want to start at this point in time in a preseason finale? Well, he's done it every single finale in the preseason since 2009. So really, it's probably more of a personal decision, and one in which that I think he looks at as part of his preparation to get started for week one.
Question marks there on that offensive line, as you mentioned. Elsewhere, Jacoby Brissett will get his first preseason start for the Browns in preparation for the season, of course, with Deshaun Watson suspended 11 games. What will this offense look like with him at QB1 this year so far?
I mean, look, I don't know that it's going to look that drastically different from what we saw a year ago. And I say that only because, they'd like to keep Jacoby Brissett in the pocket. He is athletic enough to hurt teams with his legs, but not to the extent of Deshaun Watson. And you're probably not going to put in quite as much quarterback run game like you do with a guy like Deshaun Watson. So they're still going to run the football. That's what Kevin Stefanski wants to do. They were top 10 in rushing attempts last year in the NFL. I would think the one thing you look out for, and they'll probably continue to do, a lot of rush attempts on first down. Typically when you're trusting your quarterback more often than not, you'd like to throw the football a little bit on first down. Sometimes that's your best down, that's your best coverage to throw against. The Browns were 5th in the league last year as far as attempts on first down. So I think you'll see a lot of those similar trends. Hang your hat on the things that are your strengths right now. That's your rushing attack with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt behind an offensive line that's one of the better in the AFC. And don't put Jacoby Brissett in tough positions. And then, try to, once you get a feel for it, play to his strengths. But again, I think the Browns are going to try to take some of the pressure off of Jacoby Brissett's shoulders, whether it's in a preseason finale or as they get into the season.
We'll see how that pans out there in Cleveland. Over in Dallas, a big blow with Tyron Smith expected to miss significant time with his recent injury. Yes, it's a step back for the offensive line, but how much does this hurt Dak Prescott in his way trying to elevate this year in 2022?
Well, it's huge, right? You can ask the question, does it hurt Dak Prescott more or the rushing game more? I mean, think about this. The Dallas Cowboys threw the football 647 times last season. They rushed the football 473. So clearly Dak's going to be more impacted by this. And really, when you're playing quarterback in the NFL, you're playing from the pocket primarily. And there's nowhere to go. And if your left tackle's not going to be a guy like Tyron Smith, it's going to be a big drop-off. That's the case usually on most rosters. So this is a huge loss, a huge impact on Dak and I think the Dallas Cowboys. And as you look at one of the reasons why maybe their rushing attack has gone down in recent years, it's been in part maybe Zeke Elliott not being as productive, losing a step. Tony Pollard probably looks like the more dynamic back of the two, but it's also been the offensive line. They just haven't played quite as well. So it's something to keep an eye on moving forward. And I think for Dak, he's probably going to have to do some more things with his legs, either to navigate the pocket or potentially, along with Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy, talk about ways of getting him outside the pocket and not forcing their left tackle to have to block someone on an island that they're not going to be successful doing.
Losing their 8-time Pro Bowl, of course, looking for an in-house option to replace him, at least till he comes back maybe in December. Over in New Orleans, Jameis Winston has been practicing in full this week after that injury on August 8th there. But realistically, do you need to see him in a game-type situation before the season, or is practice good enough for you?
Practice is fine for me. I mean, look, Jameis Winston has over 2,700 attempts in his career in the NFL. It's not like we need to see him in a preseason finale to figure out whether or not he can do it. We saw last year during the 7-game span he started when he went 5-2. He's very capable. It's just, can he stay healthy? And I think the other thing is, you kind of wonder with the new additions, where he's at with their timing and chemistry, but you're not going to figure that out either in one preseason finale. So I don't think it's worth the injury risk that you would take here, given the fact that he's already coming off of an injury. And I think that's the other question you have is if it's not Jameis Winston, what would this team end up doing on their roster at quarterback if he did happen to get hurt? So you got to try to protect him, just try to get him to the season healthy, and then see what this team is truly capable of. They have a roster that's built to compete for the division. It just really all falls on Jameis Winston's shoulders. Can he stay healthy, and can he continue to make the progress we saw last year, cutting out a lot of the turnovers that really plagued him during his time in Tampa?
All right, we'll see how that pans out if he plays tonight in their Friday preseason finale there in New Orleans. Appreciate your time as always. Brady Quinn tapping in on the NFL. Take a look at Jameis's numbers. As you already mentioned, of course, look, he's a grizzled vet. You can look at it like that, but of course, coming off that injury, but beforehand was 5-2. The thing is, Sean Payton was running the offense then. But you see the rankings there. The one thing, the bugaboo with him, the interceptions, 91. Last in the NFL, the giveaways, 115, not what you want to see, but the passing numbers and touchdowns, top 15 in the league when it comes to being QB1.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.